Hi everyone, this is Michael with PianoWithMichael.com. I want to thank you for stopping by. Today we are going to learn how to play the easy format of Air on the G string by Johann Sebastian Bach. It's from the orchestral suite number 3, I believe. But anyway, Air on the G string by Johann Sebastian Bach. Please, if you like this video, make sure you like it, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, but also click on the notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos. And you can go to my website, PianoWithMichael.com, to pretty much see my interpretation of music and how it's helped me out, but also to learn the basics of music if you don't have the time or resources to take traditional piano lessons, which I highly recommend. I would suggest maybe using my site or maybe going to the library learning how to play. But anyway, let's go back to Air on the G string by Johann Sebastian Bach. And again, one of the first things I like to do is look at the key signature. This one is, imagine, in G major, and so that means we have one sharp, and it is the F sharp. And so every F that we find in this piece, we're going to play with play it as a sharp, unless indicated by what's called an accidental. So it doesn't look like in this particular version there are any changes to the F. So we're going to play all Fs in F sharps. And then you'll notice that in this piece we also have a couple of other notes that the notes are raised a sharp or a half step to a sharp, and that's you'll see these in measure 3 of line 1. And so, oh, I'm sorry. So there is a couple of accidentals that transform the F sharp into an F natural, and as we move along this piece, we'll talk about them as we approach them. Now, the timing is 4/4, which basically means the top number is how many beats per measure. So there's our 4 beats per measure, and the bottom number 4 is going to be, or indicates that the quarter note gets the beat. Okay, so again, I like to play when I'm learning a song. I like to play with the right hand, learn it comfortably, and then I'll learn the piece with the left hand comfortably, and then I'll play them together. And for someone that has a horrible memory, it requires me to play it over and over and over. So hopefully you have a better memory and it doesn't take you as long. But anyway, so let's break this down. We've got line 1, measure 1. And we've got in the key signature of G major. And so we've got line 1, measure 1, we've got a D and a B, whole notes. So we're going to use our thumb and our pinky on the right hand. We're just going to count it off as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so line 1, measure 1, D and B, thumb and pinky. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so line 1, measure 2, we're going to use our second finger on E and a pinky on B as well. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so line 1, measure 1, D and B. Line 1, measure 2, we've got E and B. Okay, so line 1, measure 3, we've got, we're going to use our thumb on a G and B for a quarter note. So 1 and, okay. And so then we've got our 5th finger on E for an 8th note, and then 3rd finger on C, 2nd finger on A, and then thumb on G. And this is where we're going to do a little crossover. So we're going to do the F sharp with the 3rd finger, and then we're going to use our 4th finger on G, and then well, and then line 1, measure 4. We're gonna go back down to the F sharp with the third finger. But let's go back to the beginning of measure 3 of line 1. So line 1, measure 3, we've got G and B with the first and second finger, 1 and 2 and, excuse me, 1 and, then we're going to go to the fifth finger on E, C, A, G, third finger on F sharp, fourth finger on G. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so line 1, measure 4, we're going to go drop down to the F sharp with the third middle finger. So that's a whole half note, so we're going to count that as 1 and 2 and then we've got the second finger on E on the eighth note, and it's going to be 3, and then the thumb is going to be on D, and that is a dotted quarter note, so that gets a full beat and a half. So that would be, we're going to finish off the third beat with the and. So thumb on D, so and 4 and. Okay, so it's kind of tricky there since we've got that eighth note on the third beat, and then we jump onto the and of that beat with the D. So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much there. So let's go back to the beginning of line 4, line 1, measure 4. So third finger on F sharp, and then we drop down to the E with the second finger, and then thumb on the D. So let's count that off. Line 1, measure 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's a little bit different. So let's try that again. Line 1, measure 1 at the beginning. We've got D and B, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Line 1, measure 2. We've got E and B, and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so line 1, measure 3, we've got G and B with the thumb and second finger, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and then measure 4, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's try that again. We'll play it at relatively normal speed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, got my counting there messed up on line measure 3. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so. Okay, so the left hand on this piece, this is what I like about Bach. He really uses the left hand in almost a complementary melodic way. His music is definitely, in some of the more complex pieces and booklets, like the Well-Tempered Clavier and all the different fugues and styles, really encompasses using the left and right hands. And I am just a beginner of his music, but in playing these easier pieces, you can see how the left and right hands are used pretty extensively. So Left hand, we're going to start off line 1, measure 1, put our pinky on G. So we got G. Then we're going to go up with our thumb an octave up to G. Then we're going to jump down to F sharp with our thumb. And then octave down to F sharp with a pinky. Okay, so line 2, or line 1, measure 2, we've got the E with a pinky, octave up E, then jump down to D with the thumb, D, okay, and then we've got C with our pinky, line 1, measure 3, then octave C up, and then we're going to actually go up to C sharp with our thumb, and then our left hand, our pinky, is going to be on the C sharp an octave lower. And then line 1, measure 4, we are going to go to a pinky on D, and then thumb octave up D, and then back to C natural, and then octave down C. Okay, so let's try that again. Excuse me. Line 1, measure 1. These are quarter notes, and we're going to start off with pinky on G. So G, G, F sharp, E, E, D, D, C, C, C sharp, D, D, C natural, and then C natural. Okay, so let's count that off. 1 and so line 1, measure 1. 1 and 2 and 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 okay. So obviously, I think you caught on that I count that as a 2/4 timing instead of 4/4. So let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 okay. So I got the left hand and the right hand pretty much figured out. So let's go to line 1, measure 1. And again, when I play and learn these pieces, I like to play as much as I can with the right hand until I get comfortable, left hand until I get comfortable, and then together. So ready? Line 1, measure 1. Love it. Okay, so let's try that again at normal speed. I played that a little bit slowly there. So, and I'm gonna play this line 1 line 1 with a little bit more emotion. So. Okay, that was horrible. So I'm going to try that again. I was in my mind, I was like, okay, should I be playing this expressively at the very beginning, or should I just do it by the numbers? And kind of had a little mental meltdown there. So let's play it nice and easy, nice and slow. Okay. So now let's go to line 2, measure 1 with the right hand. Start off with a D. So line 2, measure 1, fifth finger on D. Okay. And then we've got our second finger on, got kind of a long spread there on F natural. So usually we'd play this with a sharp, but since we have that natural symbol, we're going to play it as the natural. So line 2, measure 1, we'll start with D, and then eighth note F natural, then E, then F natural for a quarter note, and then back up to D, and then F natural again. So when a note is changed with an accidental, as we see as the second note in line 2, measure 1, that natural, that is going to be played, that F is going to be played through that entire measure as a natural, okay? So that's one of the things that if it was intended as a natural and played as a sharp, or let's say that D was sharp and had a sharp indication, we'd play that as a D sharp, and every D in that particular measure we'd play, like the second one there, we'd play as a D sharp, unless we get another notification or another accidental that tells us to play it as a natural or even a flat. Okay, so again, you can go to my website, PianoWithMichael.com, go to Miko Lessons with Miko, and I talk about naturals, flats, sharps, and kind of how it works. Okay, so let's go back to line 2, measure 1, fifth finger on D. Okay, and then line 2, measure 2, we've got our thumb on E for eighth note, and then fourth finger on B, and then second finger on F natural, and then thumb on E, third finger on A, second finger on G sharp, and then fifth pinky on D, and then fourth finger on C. Okay, and then fifth finger. So we're going to jump and move our finger down for line 2, measure 3 on C with a pinky for a quarter note. Third finger on A, and then we've got a G sharp, or excuse me, G natural. Now, sometimes people, to kind of make sure that we get it reset, we'll use, even though it's in a different measure and it should have reset anyway, sometimes we like to notify the readers that although seasoned professionals would recognize that since this is a new measure, that G from the previous G sharp would be played natural, but in here we went ahead and indicated it with a natural to ensure that the reader and the performer plays it as a natural. So let's go back to the beginning of line 2, measure 3. It's got the C, third finger on A, second finger on G natural, A, B, C, third finger on A. Okay, so line 2, measure 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So let's go back to line 2, measure 1, and we'll play it from the beginning of there. So D, excuse me. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so I'm going to play it without counting. So let's go back to line 2, measure 2 at the very end, where we have that fifth finger on D, and then we got the C with the fourth finger, and then line 2, measure 3 is where we switch over. So we go from 4 to 5 on the same C. So go. Okay. And that's really to prepare our finger work for that entire measure of 3 to make sure it's lined up, that we use a proper fingering. Okay, so line 2, measure 1. Okay. So let's go back to line 2, measure 1 with the left hand, and we're going to start off with our pinky on B, quarter note. So the second finger on F sharp, and then our thumb on A, and then our pinky on A, octave down. So line 2, measure 2, we've got G sharp, and then our thumb is on octave higher, G sharp. And this is where we notice that the next note is going to use our 5th finger on E. So we really had to bring our finger, pinky up. So we go from G sharp to G sharp, bring our pinky up to E, so that then we can stretch up and hit the next note, which is the octave E higher with a thumb. Okay, so let's go back to line 2, measure 2, G sharp, the pinky, thumb, G sharp, and then kind of bring our pinky up to E, and then E. Okay, and so line 2, measure 3, we jump back down to A with our pinky, octave higher A, and then we've got the G natural. Even though we didn't have to indicate it there, we went ahead and put the natural note in there, and then our pinky on G natural as well. Okay, so let's start that over again. Line 2, measure 1, left hand, pinky on B, G sharp, A, G sharp, G sharp, bring our pinky up, E, and then jump down, A, G natural, G natural. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to get with our both hands together. Line 2, measure 1, 2 hands. So pinky on, right pinky on D, left pinky on B, left hand, right? Okay, so I would play that over and over until I got really comfortable with it. I'll play it again slowly and then one more time at regular speed. So line 2, measure 1, D and B. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and count it off this time and do it real slow. So D and left hand B. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. So line 2, measure 1, relatively normal speed. Okay, so let's go back to line 1, measure 1, and we'll play all the way to the end of line 2. Okay, and again, it's a process I like to do is kind of learn each piece, part of the measures or the lines, and then I'll go back as I finish one line. I'll go back to the beginning and then um, go to as far as I've learned. So line 1, measure 1 to the end of line 2. So um, okay, so I got my finger work off a little bit there on my note here. I have on thumb, and that was kind of awkward. So let's try that again. um, line 1, measure 1. Okay, so man, it just Johann Sebastian Bach, in my opinion, is one of the greatest mathematicians when it comes to music, but he also brings in such beauty. And if I was to say, a person that brought beauty and artistry to mathematics of music, I think he would be like the master of that. So, and that, of course, that's my opinion, but I've read online that a lot of people feel that as well. So, line 3, measure 1, left hand, or excuse me, right hand, thumb is on D, fourth finger on A, second finger on E, thumb on D, then third finger on G, second finger on F sharp. Now, even though there's no sign there, we know that because it's in G major that all the Fs are sharp unless indicated by a natural or a flat. So second finger on F sharp, fifth finger on C, fourth finger on B, and then we're going to lift up and land on, for line 3, measure 2 on B, dotted half note with the third finger. So 1 and 2 and 3 and then we're going to do fourth finger on C sharp and then pinky on D. Okay, so line 3, measure 2, we've got B, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so let's go back to line 3, measure 1, D with our thumb, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's where we do the jump, and you can use a sustain pedal there if you need to. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so let's play that without counting and at relatively normal speed. Okay, left hand, line 3, measure 1, we've got our pinky on F sharp, thumb on F sharp octave higher, and then this is where we bring in our pinky a little bit closer in, kind of scrunch it together, hit that D, and then our thumb on octave higher D, and then we jump back down to G, pinky, thumb on G higher, octave higher, and then thumb on F sharp, and then octave lower with the pinky F sharp. So let's try that again. Line 3, measure 1, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, D, D, G, G, F sharp, F sharp. Okay, so now let's put the two hands together. Right hand on D, thumb, and pinky, left hand pinky on F sharp. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so let's try that again. Line 3, measure 1. Oops. Got to play the right notes there. So thumb on D, pinky on F sharp. Okay, so you'll notice that I don't hold my hands and the full duration of the notes in its entirety. I should. Out of habit, unfortunately, sometimes I don't. I use the pedal for that, and it allows my hands to get more expressive. I know some teachers might frown upon that, but hopefully it's not too bad. So let's try it again. Line 3, measure 1. D and F sharp. Okay, so let's go to line 4, measure 1. Our thumb is going to be on G. Okay, and now we've got that 16th note G with the A. Okay, so we got 1 and 2. 2 and 2 E and okay, so that's how we would actually count that. So we go 1 and then so 1 and 2 E and so because the 2 16th notes would be played as when you count that off. And if you go to the website Piano with Michael, I've got the whole timing down where we do 1 and 2 and then when you have 16th notes or something that's kind of half of the either the beat or the and part of the beat, then you'd go E and. So we go 1 and 2, 1 and 2 E and 3 and 3 and 4 and. So let's try that again. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and. So am I playing that right? Let's see. Okay, yeah. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and. Okay. So we've got, we'll play it again. I don't think I indicated the notes. So we got G, and then the 16th note G and A, then B, third finger B, and then we jump down, jump with our pinky on B. So we prepare for the continuation of the different notes or the later notes with the proper fingering. So let's try that again. So G, line 4, measure 1, G. Okay. So line 4, measure 2, we've got F sharp, E. So second finger F sharp, thumb on E, and here's that 16th note pairing again. So E, F sharp, E, F sharp, G, and then G again with the 5th finger, and then 8th notes, F sharp and E. Okay, so let's try that again. Line 4, measure 2. F sharp, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E. Okay, so 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so 1 and 2E and 3 and 4. Oops. 1 and 2E and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so I'm going to play at normal speed. Oops. So line 4, measure 2. Okay, so then line 4, measure 3 is the end of the song, and we got our thumb on F sharp and our pinky on D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's go back to line 4, measure 1, and we'll count it off, play it nice and slowly. Thumb on G. 1 and 2E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so. Okay, so I'll play that over and over. That's a little bit tricky timing there with the 16th notes and counting it off. So 1 and 1 and 2E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2E and 3 and 4 and. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so. Okay, so now let's go to the left hand, line 4, measure 1, left hand pinky, 5th finger on E, E, octave higher, 3rd finger on C sharp, and then pinky on A, and then line 4, measure 2, we've got our thumb on D, then 3rd finger on G, and then our thumb on A, and then A, and then line 4, measure 3. We ended off with our 5th finger on D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's go. 1 and so line 4, measure 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so line 4, measure 1, 2 hands, nice and slowly. Excuse me. Line 4, measure 1. Thumb on G, pinky on E on the left hand. We'll play it nice and slow. Okay, so let's try that again. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to play this whole piece from the beginning, line 1, measure 1, to the very end, but nice and slowly. Okay, so let's get our hands ready to go. D and B and G on the left hand. Okay, so my left hand decided to play an octave there without me knowing it. No. So sometimes, even though I wrote it arranged it to have just a thumb there, I did add the left hand, or excuse me, the octave higher thumb on the D. Okay, so Air on the G String by Johann Sebastian Bach. So I'll play that to relatively normal speed. So Air on the G String by Johann Sebastian Bach. Okay, so I kind of messed up there, so we're going to play it again. And again, if I was learning how to play this piece, I just play it over and over until I got it memorized in rote memory. And the wonderful thing about once you get it in rote memory, you don't have to really concentrate where your fingers are supposed to be. That's when you really can start expressing it, and if you'd like, and if you dare, maybe some improvisation. But it really allows your mind to just kind of imagine, maybe be out in nature where, he probably was inspired with a lot of his music was inspired by nature and his belief in the Almighty and stuff. So let's go back. Air on the G String by Johann Sebastian Bach. Okay, so I'm still having a little bit of trouble there, so I'm going to play it again. So, Air on the G String by Johann Sebastian Bach. Okay. Air on the G String by Johann Sebastian Bach. Okay, there you go. Air on the G String by Johann Sebastian Bach from Orchestral Suite Number 3. Just an absolutely beautiful piece. This is the easy version of it. If you go to my website, PianoWithMichael.com, I'll have a link to a video that is played by the orchestra, and you'll get to see and hear just how beautiful this piece is in its complexity. and beauty. And again, Johann Sebastian Bach is really known for his kind of his mathematical sensibility when it comes to music, really using the left hand as its own voice, playing with the right hand. But having such a mathematical mindset, but also infusing the artistry with it and the beauty of it is makes, I believe, a lot of people believe this as well, makes Johann Sebastian Bach is one of those just amazing artists that can combine both the science and the artistry of music. Is just amazing in my opinion. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please like, subscribe, share this video, and click on the notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos. And go to my website, PianoWithMichael.com, where I have a lot more videos and content to really teach people how to play the basics of music. And again, I'd like to reiterate that if you do, have the time and resources to take lessons from a teacher, support the musical community out there, and the dedicated teachers that can really provide the feedback and nourishment that can properly teach you how to play. This is really to hopefully spark an interest in you to get started. And if you don't have the time or resources to take traditional lessons, especially in our times of this pandemic, hopefully this will give you at least the basics to get you started. So anyway, thanks again for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. Visit our website for content, tips, and products. And as always, practice, but make sure it's fun.